Everyone in this family are such edgelords. My God.
They are.
I can barely handle 1 minute of the story, and they're like, 15 years later.
Yeah.
I'm like, he waited until dessert? Oh my, I can't deal with this.
Hi, and welcome to Normal Gossip. I'm Kelsey McKinney. In each episode of this podcast, we're going to bring you an anonymous morsel of gossip from the real world. Today for the podcast, I have Youngmi Mayer with me. Youngmi is a stand-up comedian, activist, and podcast host. She's the co-host of the Feeling Asian podcast and the host of Hairy Butthole. Both podcasts highlight the Asian American experience. Youngmi, welcome to the pod. We're thrilled to have you.
Hi, thanks for having me. Am I an activist? I am.
It says so online.
It does.
Do you not feel like
No,
one?
I feel like no, I think I've talked about this before where you just feel like
Please.
I feel like there's like some sort of stigma around that word. And so people like tend to like shy away from it, and I'm like, why?
Yeah, because people are afraid of like being bold.
Yeah.
Right? They're afraid of like standing
Yeah.
too firmly somewhere. And that's embarrassing for them.
I also think that there's this like general idea that it's humorless, but you can be funny and be an activist.
Do you want to tell us what you're up to?
What am I up to? I don't know. My life is like chaotic. I just got back from Korea. I was in Korea for a month.
Okay.
And then I also was on the island of Saipan, where those are the two places I grew up. So I did like a little home tour with my son, who's 8 years old. Yeah. So I just got back.
That's so fun. Did he like it? Did
He
have a good
liked
time?
it, but it's like it's so interesting because you know when you plan a trip for your kid, you're like planning out all this stuff that you're gonna do with them, and you're like, this is gonna be
Yeah.
life changing, and like this is gonna mean so much to him. It's gonna be a core memory, and then his like memory is like the banana boat, you know.
Well, banana boats are cool.
It's a lot
So
of fun.
he's not wrong.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Do you want to start me off with the traditional first question and tell me what your relationship with gossip is like?
I love gossip. I'm pro gossip. You know, I think
All gossip.
There's no bad gossip. I feel like I read that thing a few years ago that was going around that people were saying how like being against gossip is actually kind of misogynistic. And I'm like, yeah, because like they're like, it seems to have a bad connotation, but that's just like how human beings communicate, you know?
Yeah, it's also like talking about other people can sometimes be used as a weapon against people who aren't men, right? Where it's like,
Yes.
oh, if you're not talking about something important, like, you know, the sports team that we all follow, then like this is mundane conversation. And it's like, no, you're also just talking about some people you don't know. They just happen to hold a baseball bat.
Exactly.
It's the same.
Yeah, they love gossiping about like I don't even know. I was gonna say like a sports athlete's name, but I don't even know. And I was like a Bradley Charles or whatever, one of those guys,
Mhm, sure.
and his second wife. I don't know, but also I think that it's like gossip and the telling of gossip and the telling of it well is an art. It's a storytelling art. And that is celebrated throughout the world.
I mean, as someone who thinks about gossip constantly because it is my job to write these scripts, what do you think makes it different or the same as other kinds of storytelling?
Well, here's the thing. The similar thing is that you have to make it juicy. You have to make it enticing to keep the listener involved, right? And that's like it's like when fucking Quentin Tarantino does it. It's like, oh my God, what a fucking genius. And then like when I'm juicing up the story, you know, about like this bitch who tried to steal my purse the other week, then I'm
What?
being a gossip. Like I'm being a little catty or whatever. Yeah, well, that actually happened, but you know, it's just like juicing. Oh yeah, my cat's on my lap. Sorry, he loves gossip.
Yeah. No, it was just great timing. You said I'm being a little catty, and then he
was like,
appeared.
It's like it makes it the same as like directing a movie, you know, or making like doing a podcast. Like, you know, you have that like intuition and you know what people want to hear. And that gift is like kind of the same gift that people have that do any sort of storytelling.
I'm taking this as a huge compliment personally because you're comparing all gossiping to Quentin Tarantino, which seems great to me.
It's a compliment for Quentin Tarantino because, like, let's be honest. Just sorry.
No, you're right. What can you tell everyone about what happened with your purse?
Oh, so I was okay. I don't. This is me trying to. I have to strike the balance between juicing up the gossip and like not offending anybody, especially as a Korean person.
A classic conundrum.
Yeah, but I mean, it's fine. It would be fine if it was just you and me. I could go all out. But you know, if people are listening, and some people are listening are Korean, and I don't want them to be offended. But there's a city in Korea called Busan, and it's traditionally known to be kind of gangstery. Like there's a lot of gangpe are like gangsters in Korea. Like back in the old days, it was known because it's like a port town and they're rough and they have this like, thick accent and it's like really hot, you know, like, and they're just like smoking cigarettes and eating like dried squid, you know, in the alley. Like that's the spirit of Busan, you know.
I love this vibe. Yeah,
I feel like they work so hard to go get away from that. They're like, don't tell the white people about. Like they're so mad at me right now, but. I went there with my parents because they haven't been there in like 30 years. I was like, let's go down and it's a seaside town. It's beautiful. And we went to have, you know, seafood on the beach. How great. And as soon as I fucking sat down, the women behind me, I was like, these are some Busan ass bitches. You know, they're like, one of them had just had, again, a horrible stereotype of Koreans that I'm sorry. One of them just had plastic surgery. She had chin shaving procedure and she had like a Band-Aid around the bottom of her face. Smoking and drinking soju at 1 p.m.
It's like Vegas vibes.
Yeah. And they're talking about, you know, I don't even know what they're talking about like money or something like that, right? And they're like, shbar this and shbar that. It's like, that's cuss word in Korean. And I got the vibe that they were like worked around that area. It's like, it was like a really touristy area and they were, or something like that. And I was just like, there's something about these women. I love them. I feel like we would be friends in another life. But I saw out of the corner of my eye, I was just like keeping tabs. And when they got up, one of them pushed the chair that had my purse on it that was next to me under her table. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, I know what's going on. And then the next one got up and she grabbed my purse, you know, with her back turned. And like I've already been watching since she kicked the chair under her table. So I was like, as soon as she grabbed my purse, I was like, what are you doing? No. And then her friend was facing me and she was facing away. Her friend said something to her like, shh, shh, shh. And then she slowly turned around and was like, oh, I'm sorry. And put
so sorry. I thought this was my purse.
And then walked away. And I immediately was like that. She tried to steal my purse. And then nobody at the restaurant that was working there gave a crap. They were like, I just said like loud so that the people working there could hear me. But they're just like, and like.
Well, good situational awareness on your part to watch the chair get kicked under.
But I mean, I was watching them the whole time because I was like, oh, they're so funny. And then the woman heard me scream. She would try to steal my purse, the culprit. And so she was like, oh, my, I have a purse that looks exactly like that. And I think it's somewhere under your table. So she like tried to look under my table. And I was like, just go, okay? Just go. It's fine. I'm not going to call the cops or whatever you think I'm going to do. It's fine. Just go.
Just leave me with my purse alone.
Yeah, and that's all that happened. It's directed by Quentin Tarantino.
I can't wait to see it in theaters in 14 years. How do you gossip in your personal life?
I just like, you know, I juice it up. I think I'm going to keep saying that all day. I just juice it up to the max, you know?
So I want to talk to you about that because I think this is just something I'm fascinated in general is like the juicing of gossip. Yeah. It's like, how far do you go? How far do you feel comfortable going with juicing it up? And also like, who is the most fun person to juice it up for?
Okay. So first, I just want to say that I don't like straight up lie.
Right.
Like I do not lie. I don't really fabricate anything. I do like change little things to make it more interesting. But also I feel like, you know, as a stand-up comedian and also like a podcast host that knows that I have to retell stories for an audience, when things are happening, I like start to already like jot down in my head all the funniest, best parts of it, you know? And then like also during the incidents happening, I think in my head what will make the story funnier, which is Like
Yeah.
the purse stealing thing, I was like, I should go outside and like kick her ass because that would be funny. Right? I was like, no, that would make that story like to the next level. Like that's a great story, right? But then I was like telling my mom, and she was like, don't, because you have a foreign passport and they're always going to side with the Koreans.
It's good advice.
And I was like, you're right. And I was just sitting there just fuming like, oh, I just want to beat her ass. But there are times that during the things happening, like other scenarios, I'll be like, oh, this guy said something to me on the street or whatever. And I'm like, I should let it go. But it would be really funny if I chased after him and said this. And so sometimes I will do that for the sake of the story.
This is like the definition of living for the plot.
Seriously.
Right? Of like, I will do it.
Yeah. Because I feel like I know that I could just make it up and lie.
Sure.
But I don't know. There's something about, as a performer, what I've found is that people can sense that. And like there's the level of excitement, I think, that happens in my body when I'm retelling something that actually happened. Like people can pick up on that, you know?
Yeah. So you're obviously talking about like performing a story,
Yes.
right? So the idea of like standing on a stage and performing it. Who do you rehearse the story with though, right? Like I assume that you're telling your gossip stories before you get onto a stage.
Mostly.
Who do you tell?
Mostly with the voices inside my head, just myself. Like I just tell myself the story over and over, and then I'll like, or a lot of times the stories I tell on my podcast, I'll do to myself. But to be honest, like stories like the purse story, or there's like this other great story that happened to me while I was in Korea. Like I will tell my friends, the group chat, obviously, and then I'll tell like multiple group chats.
To transition us into our story for today, do you have any cousins or like extended family that often has drama?
I have a ton of Korean cousins. I have 0 American cousins. I'm half white. I don't have any white cousins. I have 1 million Korean cousins.
How many is 1 million? Like, is it like hundreds of cousins?
No, like like a real number, I would say solidly like 15.
That's a lot
20.
of cousins.
Well,
still.
my mom has like 8 siblings.
That'll do it. Do you have like a chaotic relationship with them, or is it pretty calm when you're all together?
I mean, we all get along. Like it's except for the one cousin that tried to burn my mom's house down. But like we all like get along. You know what I mean? Like we really like each other. I don't dislike any of. Well, you know. Yeah. We get along.
I love that. Great caveat. We all get along, except for the one demon cousin. Now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. You know how sometimes when you're trying to like make a decision about something as simple as like, I don't know, what to eat for dinner, that can be extremely overwhelming. And you're just like, I don't know what I should do for dinner. This is like really frustrating. And then it turns into this whole thing for you. A really good way to get help facing these like problem solving modes you can get stuck in when faced with a challenge in life is to work with a therapist. A therapist can help you become a better problem solver, making it easier to accomplish your goals, no matter how big or how small. I've been in therapy forever for my clinical depression, and that's why I encourage other people to be in therapy. I started being in therapy because I needed it, and because it's very important to me to kind of like have someone around who can help me navigate the world through a like non-biased perspective, right? Like they're not there to be on your team. They're there to help you like become a better person. If you've been thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, accessible, affordable, and entirely online. Get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey and switch therapists at any time. When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/normalgossip today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/normalgossip. So we are going back in time today into an uncertain date. When this story is told, and it always is, the details are constantly changing. Some people say the year was 1997. Others say it was 1999. Everyone agrees that the day we're going to talk about was somewhere between 1995 and 2002. Over time, the details haven't been like lost per se. The details have been juiced. They've been heightened. They've been expanded, molded in the hands of people who have told their own version. This is their story. One thing everyone is sure about is that the incident took place on Christmas Eve. It was either a very warm December or a very mild one. It's unclear. It could have been sweatshirt weather, or maybe also people swam in the pool. Depends on who you're asking. But what is clear is that it took place at the grandparents' house.
Okay.
Grandma and grandma live in a not too big, not too small, very old house in a picturesque southern city, right? It's like the kind of house that's always shown in movies where like people come home for the holidays and it's like all decked out, right? There's like a giant oak tree.
Right.
It's got lights on it, la, la, la. Grandparents have been waiting there all day for their like children and grandchildren to arrive.
Yeah.
First to arrive, everyone agrees on this, was the family of our friend of a friend. We're going to call her Hazel, just for our purposes. And because she's our closest contact, we're going to believe her version of this story.
Okay.
So the
Believe
version I'm
women.
about to tell you is Hazel's version.
Okay.
We believe women.
Believe
exactly.
women. Yeah.
In this situation, Hazel was 8.5.
Okay.
Hazel and her older sister, Dawn, we'll say Dawn was 10. You know, they fought in the backseat of the car the whole ride over, right? They're like, is your hand across the center line of my seat? Is your hand across the center line? Right? Just like bickering over their shared chair.
I love that. That's what Hazel remembers, because that's like having an 8-year-old, and that's like stuff that he remembers. I'm like, do you remember the Grand Canyon? He's like, yeah, I got a hot dog. It's like, great.
Exactly. So the minute they arrive, it's like 4-hour drive to their grandparents' house,
Yeah.
right? Like they get there, the minute they arrive, that like animosity between her and her sister kind of dissolves because there's like new things to do. There are stairs to run up and down. There are piles of leaves to jump in. There's grandparents to hug. There's like a bunch of soft surfaces to jump on.
Right.
So they're doing that when their two cousins arrive.
Yeah.
Peyton, who was 9, so he's between the two girls.
Okay.
And Cole, who's 1 year younger than Hazel, so he's 7.
Okay, so these are white people.
Yes.
Okay.
The boys come roaring out of the car, right? Just like
As
all
they do.
energy.
Yeah.
And once the cousins are all together, it's like hell breaks loose,
Oh,
right?
no.
Like they want to play hide and seek. They want to play sardines. They want to like run and tackle each other and scream at the top of their lungs. The adults are exhausted from transporting their children to this location and also having jobs and also having to do like the emotional labor of interacting with their own parents and siblings.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they're like, my head's going to explode listening to all of this chaos. We want the kids to have fun. Obviously, it's Christmas, sure. But we also want the kids to not like topple a precious family heirloom to the ground because they're running in circles.
Right.
How do you think they should get the children to calm down? Like, what would your strategy be?
I don't know. I would just like put them outside and like lock the door. To get them to. Well, they didn't have iPads back then.
Mm-hmm.
What did they do with children before iPads? Quaaludes. I don't know.
What they
Like,
do?
It was so funny because that's like when I grew up. Yeah, poppers. That's when I grew up, and I'm like, what did I do what did my parents do when I was bored? Maybe television? I don't know.
What the aunt and uncle, so the parents of the two boys, do is they go to their car and
Yeah.
they return holding a black box that's draped in like a bunch of cords. And the
Oh,
uncle
no.
carries it like a bouquet to the living room and he turns the TV around and he plugs it in. And it was a Nintendo 64.
Nice.
Did you play in 64 at all as a child?
No, not at all. I hate video games. I just like never got into it. But I remember it was like so big. People love that so much.
Yes. Okay. So the game that they were playing is like also up for debate and also not important.
Okay.
Hazel is like certain that the game was Mario Party. And since we believe women and we believe Hazel, we're going with that.
Yes.
They're all like seated on the floor, right? In like birth order. They're still yelling and like being really loud, but at least they're not running anymore. So the parents are like, we did it. This is a win.
Right.
As you can imagine, because there are 4 children, the game devolves immediately.
Right.
Because playing games as a child, like, having a personal crisis, always reveals something about your character.
Yes.
Children's brains still developing.
Yeah. Like if you're a purse stealer at heart. let's
Right,
say.
exactly. And also,
Come
like,
out.
their sense of fairness for each of these children has
Oh,
no
yeah.
sense of, like, justice or equality, right? Like, so they're all, like, the only thing that seems fair to me is, like, if I get what I want.
I should have everything, and
Mm-hmm.
Peyton should go sit in the car. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so the children managed to play for, like, an hour before their personalities started to reveal themselves. Okay, so here's what happens. We'll go through them. Dawn, so she's the oldest.
Yeah.
She assumed because she was taller and also older and also smarter that she would also be best at playing the video game, even though she'd never played it before. This did not work out well for her, and she did not take it well. So she is like our stereotype of a sore loser, right? She's
Yeah.
like pouting. She's becoming mad. She gets so mad at one point that she like slaps the controller out of the littlest one, Cole's hand.
Right.
To her credit, slapping the controller out of Cole's hand was like pretty fair because Cole, who's like smaller and goofier than all of them, is also the kind of kid who like innately ignores the rules of games. Like,
Right.
he cheats. He sabotages his own teammates because he thinks it's funny. He like
Yeah.
loses all the time, but that's because he's trying to make sure that like Peyton, his older brother, loses more, right?
Mm.
And he was like best at the game. So he's like
Oh.
turning the controller sideways and like using his palm to spin a little joystick or something.
Yeah.
He knows how to win. And what he
Yes.
wants is not to win, but to make Peyton lose.
He would rather have chaos than power.
So
Can we assign like Squid Game characters to this or something? Make it a little
Sure.
Korean because I feel like
Please.
So that's like Cole is like the gangster guy.
Yes. He's like
He's the
just
Busan. I think he
creating
was from
chaos.
Busan in that show. Yeah. And I swear to God, I don't remember, but and then the oldest one is a sore loser. I feel like that she's the character that's the rich guy that went to Seoul University, and he brings it up in every sentence.
Yes.
And he okay, so we've established these two characters.
Okay.
Who's next?
So because Cole is like disrupting every game, that means that Hazel is winning every game because
Yeah.
she's the only one not being sabotaged.
Hazel,
And-
obviously the main character,
Exactly.
just pure of heart.
And she's pure of heart, except that she's a really sore winner. So she's
Oh.
like bragging. Just like
That's
brag,
fine.
brag.
Women should brag more. You know, we're told to like little ourselves too much. No, fuck that. You won, just rub it in their faces.
Yeah,
you know?
she's just rubbing it in her sister's face, rubbing it into everyone's face. She's winning.
just confident. Just woman in tech, you know?
Women in STEM.
Women in
Congrats to
STEM.
Hazel.
Just because she's better than all the men, they're calling her haughty and arrogant. No, she deserves to brag.
Peyton, the only child remaining, is like, does not care, right? Cannot be phased by Cole's behavior. His younger brother is just like trying to find shortcuts and like do tricks in the game. Like, he's not even really trying to win.
Payne sounds good. I don't even know what character he is in Squid Game. He's like the I don't even remember any of their names.
Okay, so this is our situation. How are you feeling
Okay.
at this point about our terrible children?
I honestly want to correct you. I think
Please.
that they sound like children, not terrible children. They're
You're right.
acting like children. And we shouldn't place judgment. I'm sorry.
No, you're
I
right.
just read this parenting book. They sound like kids. They sound annoying AF, and I'm sure the parents at this point, 1 p.m. have had some Sauvignon Blanc at this point.
Okay, so for dinner, the way it works in this family is like extremely gender stereotyped, right? Which is
Yes.
that like the women are doing the traditional Christmas meal. They're like
Right.
very into it. They're making their like jams and gravies and pies or whatever. They're like creating a feast. And this starts on Christmas Eve when they all get there. They're all cooking.
Good.
So what the women in this family have done is, they're like, we're cooking for Christmas. The men will cook Christmas Eve dinner, and what they will be allowed to use is the grill because we are using the rest of the kitchen.
Yeah, and men are allowed to grill.
Yes, in the
Women are
South,
not.
men are allowed to grill. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is fine. It's the South. It's warm. It's also like kind of a fun tradition to be like, oh, our family eats like hot dogs and hamburgers on Christmas Eve. All the kids
Yeah.
love it. There's chips. Like we have watermelon on the grill. It's fun, right?
That sounds great.
The kids love this, obviously, because they're like hot dogs and hamburgers, special treat. We're thrilled. So the children eat their hot dogs and their hamburgers, right? It's dinner time. They eat them all happily. They like return to playing their games after dinner.
Okay.
But that evening, depending on who you believe, either right after they finished eating dinner or almost 2 hours later. Okay, so we have some ambiguous time sequencing.
Okay.
The grandpa comes stomping into the living room and he walks up to the TV and he rips the cord out of the back of the Nintendo and the screen goes black.
Wow.
Cole, who is about to destroy both his brother and Don in one fell swoop, screams.
Yeah.
The parents come like running in because the kids are screaming. And so does like the grandma. And so they're all like gathered around, right?
Yeah.
Grandpa's holding the cord to the N64. He's like clearly annoyed. He clears his throat and he's like, which one of you put a hot dog in the toilet?
Legend.
Sometimes I go to the gym in the afternoon, and when I go to the gym in the afternoon, I'm always really hungry afterward. And I'm like, wow, I need to eat a whole meal right now. But I can't eat a whole meal because later I have dinner plans, and it just like it'll mess up your whole schedule, and you don't really want to do that. But also, if I don't eat right after I go to the gym, I get really sore, and that's also a problem. And that's why I like Magic Spoon, because Magic Spoon is cereal, which I love because it reminds me of childhood, and that's very nostalgic and delicious. But it's not like the bad kind of cereal that tastes like a bunch of little crumpled up pieces of cardboard. So that's great. It's time to try Magic Spoon cereal, the cereal that tastes good and is good for you. Magic Spoon has replicated your favorite childhood cereals to taste good and be good for you. Each serving contains 0 grams of sugar and over 13 grams of protein. We love it. It's low carb, keto friendly, gluten free, grain free, and soy free way to relive those moments watching your favorite cartoons. Plus, there's magic in every spoonful. With over 8 unique flavors, you won't get bored of feeling good with Magic Spoon. My favorite flavor is the chocolate and the peanut butter. If you mix them together and you put them in the same bowl, that's really delicious. It tastes like a peanut butter cup. I really, really recommend that. I've been eating Magic Spoon every day after going to the gym, and it's just a little like treat for me, You can head to magicspoon.com/gossip to grab a custom bundle of cereal and try the magic for yourself. And be sure to use our promo code GOSSIP at checkout to save $5 off your order. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product that it's backed with an 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund the money, no questions asked. Remember to get your next delicious bowl of cereal at magicspoon.com/gossip and use the code GOSSIP to save $5 off. Thank you to Magic Spoon for sponsoring this episode. Grandpa's like, there's a whole hot dog in the toilet upstairs with one bite taken out of it. The children all like look at one another, but no one says anything, right? They're all like just silent. He's like, I know it was one of you.
I already know who it was. I 100% know who it was. It's not Hazel.
No one says anything.
Yeah.
He's like, none of you are in trouble, but the upstairs toilet is clogged. So like someone needs to confess.
What if it just came out of my butt like that? Because I didn't chew it, Grandpa.
Just the whole hot dog? Just shot right out?
Yeah. Once when I was a kid, let me tell you, my mom bought me a Happy Meal. And I was so excited because she would never get those for me. And I ate the Happy Meal cheeseburger so fast because I loved it that I got sick. And then I was like running to the bathroom so I had to throw up. And the 2 pickles came out exactly intact. Stuck to each other. like just literally like how the person put it on the cheeseburger because I ate it so fast. It's in the scope of possibilities that maybe the kid ate it too fast and it just came out whole.
Yes. I guess that's a possibility. So, like all family legends, right? This was told over and over again. And this moment of like grandpa standing there looms large over it to the point where like when the grandpa died a few years ago, the cousins like talked about this moment at the funeral.
Wow.
They're like, we didn't even know that he was upset. He just had to know, right? He was like, which one of you did this?
Yeah.
But nobody said a word. Nobody said anything. They're all just like looking at each other, waiting for someone else to confess because they're like, maybe if someone else confesses, this will be over.
Yeah.
But none of them do.
Huh.
What do you think the parents should do in this scenario?
I don't know what they should do, but if it was me, let me tell you, I would have a talk with Grandpa. Be like, Bro, relax. It's a little abusive. It's you're being a little abusive to your children. It's scary when adults yell at them, and it's not a big deal. I'll unclog the toilet. And let them be kids. That's what I would do.
Well, I do want to be clear that he wasn't yelling. He was just like,
right.
Who did this? Who put this hot dog into the toilet? Okay. What the parents decide to do is they're like, we are going to question the children. We're going to see if we can get one of them to confess by splitting them up, asking if they did it, and then asking them if they know who did it. And just hope that one of them will tell on the other. This is the year 2000.
I like this. These are smart people. This is sounds like a Law and Order SVU sort of tactic.
So now we're going to play real Law and Order SVU, which is you get to choose which child you'd like to question first. Okay,
I already know. I know it's Cole.
Okay, so you want to go to Cole first, though.
I see what you mean. I got to think. I'm going to plot out a little tactical. I would ask... Well, only the kid that did it would know. Do you know what I mean? It's not like the other kids would be seeing the crime.
Maybe.
I would ask, I guess, Peyton.
Okay, you're going to Peyton first.
Because I know it's Cole, and I feel like Peyton will just rat him out.
Peyton is 9. Just to remember. Peyton is also a goody two-shoes. And, more importantly, Peyton does not like hot dogs. At the ripe age of 6, Peyton was like, hot dogs are gross. I'm not eating them. By 9, Peyton was a vegetarian.
Peyton sounds like a narc. He's going to call the cops.
So Peyton is interviewed on the couch, right? And he's sitting cross-legged. And they're like, Peyton, did you put the hot dog into the toilet? And Peyton's like, no, I didn't. I don't even eat hot dogs.
Okay, I believe him.
The parents are like, we believe him. But Peyton is the kind of kid who lies. He's good at lying.
That checks out. People who like cops like to lie.
So that is true. So they're like, okay, Peyton, our little child, do you know who put the hot dog into the toilet? And Peyton's like, all I know is that all the kids use the upstairs bathroom except for Dawn because she doesn't like the way it smells.
Okay, we're getting some clues here. Okay.
Who would you like to question next? You've got Dawn, Hazel, and Cole left.
Cole.
You're going straight to Cole.
Yeah.
Okay, here's Cole.
Go for the husband of the wife that's missing.
Cole is the only child who does not seem genuinely upset and concerned. He is our chaos child. He is eating cookies when the parents find him in the dining room. He is not supposed to be eating cookies. The parents are like, Cole, you're not supposed to be having the cookies. And Cole is like, Grandpa said I could have them. Grandpa absolutely did not say that he could have these. They're like, Cole, you know that you can't have those, but he's also the baby. So the parents are like, Cole, did you put the hot dog in the toilet? And he's like, nope.
Okay, he said nope. He's also very young.
He's 7.
Yeah.
And the parents are like, not super convincing. They're like, but Cole is the tattletale of these cousins, right? They're like, he almost always will come to his parents if Peyton has broken a cup, called him a baby, breathed in the wrong direction.
Right.
So they're like, Cole, do you know who put the hot dog in the toilet? And Cole looks at his parents and he's like, I do not.
You know what? I believe Cole. I feel like my number one suspect now is Peyton.
Who would you like to question next? You've got Dawn and Hazel, the 2 girls.
I guess Dawn, because Hazel's not even using that bathroom, so.
No, Dawn's not using that bathroom.
Dawn's not. Okay, then Hazel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hazel, she's 8.5. She was interrogated on the patio. She is a crier. So, she doesn't deal well with confrontation. So, immediately when her parents started questioning her older sister, she started crying. So, they go out there and they're like, Hazel, no one is in trouble. We just want to know who put the hot dog into the toilet. And she's like, Dawn is always blaming me for things that I didn't do. I ate all of my hot dogs. I would never put a hot dog into the toilet. I cleaned my plate. Dad gave me more and I still ate them.
Okay.
And the parents are like, interesting that you're already going to the fact that Dawn would have accused you. And they're also like, you are right that we often believe Dawn over you, but that's because Dawn is older and usually is right. Right.
Also, I think they say that like a mark of someone that's lying is like they overdo the story. And so, yeah, did you know that?
I didn't know that.
I probably like some, not true. It's like some
I'm
pseudoscience.
choosing to believe it wholesale. So
I saw like an interview where it was like an FBI, some sort of interrogator person. And they said that like one of the ways that you can tell someone's lying is if they like overdo the story. And, Hazel's talking about, she ate everything on her plate. Like we're not asking you for all that. You sound a little guilty.
So they're like, Hazel, do you know who put the hot dog in the toilet?
Yeah.
And Hazel is like, I didn't even know there was a hot dog in the toilet. I have no idea.
Okay, Hazel. Okay.
Would you like to talk to Dawn, our oldest cousin?
Before I choose who did it? Yes. Let's talk. Why not? Talk to Dawn.
Okay, Dawn's 10. She comes to sit at the kitchen table with her mother and she like looks terrified. She's picking her nails, but she's like a good kid, right? Like obsessed with making good grades, very kind. They're like, Dawn, did you put the hot dog into the toilet? And she's like, no. And if I had, it would have been an accident and there would have been no reason to hide it from you. And I would have either retrieved it or I would have asked for help.
Huh.
And the parents are like, you know what? That does track that you would do that. But they also know that Dawn has intentionally created problems in the past to get Hazel into trouble.
Did she pull Hazel into it?
They're like, Dawn, do you know who put the hot dog in the toilet? And Hazel is like, I don't. But Hazel and Cole were the only other kids eating hot dogs. Who do you think is guilty?
I don't trust any of these children. They sound like schemers and liars. They sound like they're from Busan. I'm just kidding.
First you defended them and now you're turning on them.
Yeah, I'm turning on them. This is what it feels like to be a parent. I feel like too. It's like sometimes I'm like, I love my son so much. And then I'm like, this is no. I truly feel like my gut is telling me it's Cole. He's already lying about the cookies. Unless I still think it's maybe, the grandpa. And the grandpa did give Cole those cookies and he lied about it to make him look like he was a liar. And then he threw the hot dog in there to like, maybe grandpa's the chaos agent in this family.
So that is a good point. And something that we should address is like, I've kind of assumed that a child is to blame up until this point.
Yeah.
Is there any reason to think about the other adults, do you think? Or should we just ignore them?
I don't know. I would say the only one that would do it is grandpa, because it sounds like one of those like Chevy Chase pranks that, back in the old days, dads would do pranks like that. And
pranks
then you'd be
make
like,
their kids cry. Yeah.
Yeah. Like to traumatize us. It's like, your cat's dead. And like fly a toupee on a stick. And then it's like, now I'm really sad, but thanks. I guess that's funny.
Good prank, Dad, as you wipe your tears away.
But my money is on Cole. I think it's Cole.
Okay, this is exactly the conclusion that all the adults come to, right? Like, they're like, the hot dog gets removed from the toilet, obviously, like, it's fine. But the parents are all like, it's so funny that none of these kids would rat each other out, right? They're like, this is a really funny scenario. Like, we just want to know who did it. Like, why did you put a hot dog into a toilet with one bite out of it? That is a ridiculous thing to do. All the parents are like, it's Cole. Like, 100% our little, like, chaos child. But there's, like, no confession. And also, like, they were never really going to do anything about this anyway. Yeah. So they're just like, the upstairs bathroom is clogged. None of you can go there. Like, it's off limits for the rest of the trip. That's fine. They'll all just use the downstairs bathroom.
I feel like I'm judging myself for thinking bad things about these children, because like if I think it's Cole, I'm like, that's sad. Little boys get like a bad rap.
Well, they're all adults now, for what it's worth.
Oh no, I mean like, well, yeah, like if I was judging the children. I'm guessing that there's like a twist, like a surprise ending, and it's Hazel. There's no way it's anyone else. It's either Hazel or Cole.
Do you think the adults should do anything at this point?
No, I mean it's just like, I don't know, kids. I don't know. This kind of stuff happens to me every day, and I'm just like, I just gotta let it go. I don't even know. Yeah.
Yeah. That's basically what they do. They're like, our operating assumption is that it's Cole and he's the culprit / hot dog vandal. And like,
Yeah.
eventually someone will confess. And in the meantime, this is just a funny story.
Yeah.
So what happens is this hot dog story becomes like family lore, right? The like joke, story, scandal, whatever you want to believe about it, of the hot dog becomes like a family joke. So every year at Christmas, the family like brings up the hot dog incident, and the whole story is retold and the whole event is rehashed in detail. Like, people are requesting the story at Christmas. Every time they're serving hot dogs, they're like, don't put it in the toilet, right? Like, on and on and on.
You know what I would do?
What?
I would take a bite out of a hot dog and throw in the toilet every year. And then I wouldn't tell anybody that I did it. Then like, it would all over again. Every year they'd be like, oh my God, it happened again. Who did it? You know, like, every year. And then like keep it a secret until my death. Take it to the grave.
That would be a really good prank. That is not what happened in this family. Okay. All that happens in this family is we rehash the story. Everyone settles on it being Cole every year. Yeah. And to Cole's credit, he is like a good sport about this, right? Like, he laughs when people point at him, but he never confesses. Like, every year he denies. He repeats his alibi that the whole time he was just eating cookies downstairs.
Wow.
Everyone is like, we don't believe you, but it's nice of you to be like a good sport about all this like razzing that we're doing.
Yeah.
But there was one time that everyone in the family kind of questioned their resolve that it was Cole. Have you ever watched one of those videos from those girls on TikTok where they're like, oh, this is my like steps of my skincare routine in a day. And then they proceed to like, you know, put a product in front of their hand and show it to you in the camera. But they do that like 27 times. And all of the products are like, you have to keep this at like a very specific refrigerator temperature. Finding skincare products that actually work for you is complicated, and that's why we are excited to partner with Apostrophe, the sponsor of this episode. Apostrophe is an online platform that connects you with an expert dermatology team to get customized acne treatment for your unique skin. Through Apostrophe, you can get access to oral and topical medications. They use clinically proven ingredients to help clear acne. You just go online and you fill out like a little online consultation. They ask you about your skin goals. Famously, my skin goals are deleting all of the pores off my face. And they also ask you about your medical history, which I don't have to tell you because of HIPAA. Then you just snap a few selfies and a board-certified dermatologist will create your first customized treatment plan. Apostrophe offers access to treatments for all types of acne, from hormonal acne to facial acne and even back, chest, and butt acne. They treat breakouts from head to toe. I really like using Apostrophe. I've been using this little like retinol and acid thing that they sent me, and I just put it on my face every day, and it feels really good. And also my pores are starting to delete themselves, which I love. We have a special deal for our audience. Get your first visit for only $5 at apostrophe.com/gossip when you use our code GOSSIP. That's a saving of $15 whole. This code is only available to our listeners. To get started, just go to apostrophe.com/gossip and click begin visit. Then use our code GOSSIP at sign up and you'll get your first visit for only $5. Thank you to Apostrophe for sponsoring this episode. The family was like having a big, you know, outside game day or something. And they split everyone up into teams, right? They like drew names out of a hat, split everyone into teams. Dawn and Hazel were on the same team. They were both high schoolers by this point. And every team had to choose their own name.
Okay.
Dawn and Hazel chose the name, "We didn't put the hot dog in the toilet."
Yes.
Do you think this is a signifier of guilt?
I think I believe women, so no.
Wow,
I think
classic.
I believe them.
Someone who doesn't believe women is Cole. Cole yells, "Aha!" and he's like, "You did it."
Why is that an admission of guilt?
Because to Cole, he's like, you keep bringing it up. Like,
right,
the fact
okay,
that you need to like reinforce this
Yeah,
is
that's
telling
a good point.
to me.
That's a very good point, Cole. Cole is
immediately creates anarchy, right? Like everyone is like yelling. Cole is like, this is basically a confession. Like they basically put it in there. Like we all know now. And he's like having fun with it. It's not like bad vibes.
Yeah.
But all the cousins are older by this point, right? So they're all like having a blast with this. They're all like, no, Cole, you did it.
Yeah.
One uncle is like drunk, and so he's like trying to interrogate the cousins again, right? Like he's like, tell your story again, but still nobody confesses.
Okay. That's the most mildest drunk uncle story I've ever heard.
I know, same.
The uncle got drunk and then he asked them again who put the hot dog in. I was like, I thought this story was going to go really south.
No.
Okay.
Everyone's having a great time. Grandpa is having like the best time of all, right? He's laughing super hard.
I'm telling you, it's Grandpa.
He's like, honestly, the $2,500 this cost was worth it.
It cost $2,500?
All the cousins are like, what cost $2,500? Turns out the hot dog was not just placed in the toilet, it was put in the toilet and flushed.
Oh, God.
And the hot dog did flush, but it was a whole hot dog with a bun. And so the bun saturated with water and expanded.
I feel like this detail was very important. With the bun. That is a whole different story.
The hot dog got stuck in the pipes, and like the pipes
God.
were very old, right? Like whoever flushed the hot dog's credit, like the pipes were old. They probably needed to be replaced anyway, but they had to be replaced like immediately after Christmas because of this. This information, of course, creates more chaos because now all the cousins are like, oh, this is why you wanted to know who flushed it.
Right.
Because it was like actually a financial problem.
I see. Yes.
The drunk uncle is like, can a hot dog even be flushed? He's like, I don't know that I like believe this. Do you think that a hot dog and its bun could fit into a toilet and be flushed?
Yes. 100%. I've seen bigger things squeeze into smaller holes is all I'm going to say about that.
Yes. So everyone's debating though, because the uncle is so convinced that a hot dog couldn't fit in there.
He has not experimented in the bedroom.
I know. The uncle is yelling. He's like, how do we even know the hot dog did it? Right? He's like, the pipes are really old.
Oh, so there might not have even... Did anyone see the hot dog? Grandpa. Exactly.
By the end of the tournament, no one had confessed still.
And the children are teenagers, so they have like, a sense of, moral
They're
compass.
Starting to obtain clarity, maybe.
Yeah, and like, who cares? Just say it.
Yeah. The next opportunity to confess was when Grandpa began to die.
Oh, God.
The kids are like,
oh, my
college.
God. This is horrible.
Grandpa, he was very old. His sickness progressed quickly. It's okay, right? It's fine. All the cousins were coming to pay their respects, right? Hazel goes in first, and immediately Grandpa is like, did you flush the hot dog? And he's like saying it in a funny voice, but Hazel's like, no, like I didn't flush the hot dog. And he's like, do you know? I have to know. And she's like, no, I don't know who did it.
Oh my God.
So Dawn goes in after her. She comes out and Hazel's like, did he ask you about the hot dog? And Dawn's like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cole goes in and then Peyton goes in and he asks all of them whether or not they were the one that flushed the hot dog. And everyone is like, I told him it wasn't me. I told him I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the parents and the cousins are like, that's crazy. Like no one confessed to this man on his deathbed who wanted to know whether the hot dog had been flushed and by who. It was only at the funeral a couple of weeks later that the grandma mentions that the grandpa had told her that the hot dog flusher had finally confessed on his deathbed.
I see. Right.
And everyone in the family is like, what? Tell us. Like, who was it? And the grandma's like, he wouldn't tell me. He said he'd earned it.
I'm telling you, it was Grandpa. And he did it as a joke. I think the uncle's onto something. I think maybe there wasn't even a hot dog. The pipes just burst. And then he took that secret to the grave. It was like a joke, a little grandpa joke. They really like to overdo the jokes. They really take it there.
Okay, so all of this family backstory brings us to last Christmas.
Okay.
It's been either 25 or 30 years since the hot dog incident, depending on who you believe.
Okay.
All the cousins are in their like late 20s, early 30s.
Uh-huh.
Dawn is now a nurse. She has 2 kids. She's married. She lives extremely close to her sister Hazel, who also got married a couple summers ago and is like pursuing a career as a lawyer. Okay, very adult. Because they live close together, they carpooled so that Hazel could help her sister Dawn with the kids and stuff, right?
Right.
9-hour drive to Christmas. Because Christmas has now downsized from Grandma's house because Grandma moved into like someone else's house, they have Christmas at Peyton and Cole's parents' house. So Dawn and Hazel and their spouses and the kids arrive the night before Christmas Eve. Nobody else is there. They're the first ones there. So they settle in, they eat dinner. And after dinner, they'll like husbands take the kids up to put them to bed. And Dawn and Hazel like settle in on the patio furniture with their aunt to have some wine. Classic holiday time.
Yeah.
You know, they have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 wines. It's unclear.
Wow.
Who's to say?
5 wines.
At this point, someone makes a hot dog joke.
Oh, no.
And Dawn is like, come on. We all know who it was.
Yeah.
And Hazel's like, yeah, obviously it was Cole.
Uh-huh.
And the aunt takes a sip of wine and she's like, which one of you is going to confess?
Oh.
And Dawn and Hazel are like, what? And the aunt is like, yeah, Grandpa was convinced from the very beginning that it was one of you two.
Huh.
I just assumed that one of you confessed. Dawn is like, what? No. And Hazel's like, you're joking. Like, there's no way everyone believed this. And the aunt's like, no, I'm not joking. I'm dead serious. Everyone believes that one of you two did it.
Okay.
So maybe this was caused by the team name. Maybe Cole like successfully switched their allegiances, but Grandpa from the beginning was like, it's one of the 2 girls.
Wow.
So if you're Hazel and you've spent all of these years assuming it's Cole, are you now suspicious of your sister?
Yeah. I would be. Wait, Hazel's the person that told the story and she said that it's not her. Yeah, but like, who cares if Grandpa thought it was one of the girls? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand the whole naming of the sports team is confessing. That part I'm like so lost, but I still think it's Cole.
Hazel's like racking her brain and she's like, you know, like Cole really was eating a lot of cookies that day. Like she's like, could his alibi be real? Could he have been eating cookies the whole time?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it could, like, honestly, at this point, I feel like it could be anybody.
Yeah. So Hazel's like, well, her aunt goes inside and she's like, obviously I have to confront my sister because I'm like, did you fucking flush the hot dog? Like after 25 years of being silent. Yeah. So they're both like, did you do it? No. Did you do it? No. And they're both like kind of heated because they're like, did you, my only sister, trick me for 25 years into believing it was Cole?
Right.
But they're both like, no, it wasn't me. And like, if you're going to confess, this is the moment to confess, right? Like to your sister
or the
alone.
Deathbed. Yeah. Or the grandpa's deathbed.
Exactly. So they're both like laughing because they're like, this is like an ultimate betrayal and an ultimate gag. They're like, no, it wasn't me. So the aunt comes back and they're both like crying, laughing because they're like, it wasn't us. Like, we swear it wasn't us. And the aunt shrugs, but it's like very clear she does not believe them.
Wow. She does not believe women.
She doesn't.
Huh.
The next day is Christmas Eve. Grandma arrives in the morning. She has like presents for the kids. Dawn and Hazel's parents arrive with more. Cole arrives in the afternoon. He's like clearly hungover, right? He's like wearing a band t-shirt, sunglasses, and a baseball cap. He has brought the children silly string. This immediately endears him to all of the children and also creates a giant mess. Because the kids are using the silly string and Cole is just like laughing and laughing.
Cole still loves chaos. Yeah.
He loves chaos. The chaos is so like overwhelming that no one even notices when Peyton like walks in. In the meantime, Peyton has like gone to a fancy college in the Northeast. He arrives with his luggage like straight from the airport wearing a crisp button-up shirt. He's like living in DC and working, you know, for like some Democrat like Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah.
everyone is like thrilled to see him because he hasn't been home for Christmas in 3 years. So everyone's like, our like prodigal son has returned, right? They're like, great. So when the hot dogs and hamburgers are made for dinner, it's like time to retell this whole story, right?
Oh, God.
They retell the whole story. This year, like, the kids are finally old enough to, like, appreciate the story. And so the kids are, like, scream laughing, and they're like, which one of you did it? And they're like, we think it's Cole, right? The kids even are like, it has to be Uncle Cole. Like, it's him. So after dinner, the 4 cousins retreat to the patio.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, it's weird to be an adult. It's like you're still young enough to stay up late on Christmas Eve and, like, drink wine, but you're also, like, old enough that you now have to assemble a bicycle because you're Santa.
Right. And you've had 5 wines.
Yes. So they're like having their wine. Hazel and Dawn are like not doing a great job of assembling this bicycle, but their husbands have like gone to bed. So Cole takes over. It's like perhaps 1 or 2 a.m. very late. Like, black sky. There's one light that is like by the back door.
And he's assembling a bicycle in that light.
He's assembling a bicycle. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like making fun of Hazel and Dawn because he's like, you are both like drunk and you're lying on the concrete and you're being absolutely useless in helping assemble this bicycle.
Yeah.
And so they're all like laughing giddy when from the chair they hear a whisper. And it came out so easily. Like he had it bottled up and it just like slipped out like a little fart. And he goes, I was the one that flushed the hot dog.
Is it Peyton?
It's Peyton!
I knew it. He's so... with his little lies. I can't believe that. Damn. You know, I identify... This is why I felt bad for accusing Cole earlier. I identify as a Cole. I am the hot mess chaos agent in my family. But I never lie. Obviously, I lie all the time. But, like, I don't, like, lie like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't lie like that. I'm, like, very honest. If someone's like, did you do something? I'm like, yes or no. Whatever.
Yeah.
Peyton, for me, Peyton feels like a Cancer, and Cancers like to lie, and or like a Virgo. You know, it's like they look very organized, but they're actually like...
As a Virgo, yes.
Right?
We're all scheming at all times. Yeah.
Conniving little...
Everyone is like having to hold a hand over their mouth, right? Because it's 2 a.m. and like your cousin has just confessed to a 2-decade-old like family mystery. Cole like stands up and he walks over to Peyton, who he is now bigger than. And Peyton has his like back to the lantern, so his like face is a whole shadow. Yeah. And Cole is like, you little shithead. And he like locks Cole in a headlock and he's like, you made me take the blame for this for decades.
I'm going to say that that's traumatic. I mean, because like the whole like idea of like the hot mess kid taking the fall for the conniving Virgo kid, like that's like Trump. Like, yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah. And Cole is like laughing, but he's like, I'm not letting you go until you tell us everything.
Let's hear it, Peyton.
So Peyton tells them that he had decided on this Christmas Eve that he was like tired of feeling left out of the family. Like he felt like he was the kid that was different from all the other kids. And he was like, I don't like this. I don't like being different from all the other kids. I'm going to try to not be a vegetarian anymore. And so he got himself a hot dog and he snuck it into his room and he tried it, but he didn't like it. And he didn't want to admit to having tried and not liked it. And he didn't want to be accused of wasting food. So he tried to flush it.
Oh my gosh. Of course. That makes so much sense. Why? So, like, why was he keeping it a secret all this time? For what reason?
The cousins love this. They're, like, having a blast, right? They're like, he finally confessed after 25 years. Peyton. Like, we all thought it was Cole. I briefly thought it was my own sister. But it turns out it's Peyton.
It's hilarious.
So now they have to have a debate as the 4 of them. And the debate is this. Do you tell the rest of the family?
No, they don't deserve.
The cousins decide that they're going to tell. And their reasoning for this is that they're like, Cole is going to keep getting shit for this for generations.
True. That's true.
If we don't tell. And they're like, you know what? As a like present to him, we will allow him to tell, right? Like he gets to tell them that Peyton has confessed.
Yeah.
So at Christmas lunch the next afternoon, they're all like gathered around the table, right? Peyton has this like special veggie casserole. Everyone else has their like ham. They're eating merrily. All the cousins are like exchanging glances, but nobody says a word.
Yeah.
Cole waits for dessert. He waits
God.
till like everyone has their little pie and they're seated.
Everyone in this family are such edgelords. My God.
They are.
I can barely handle 1 minute of the story, and they're like, 15 years later.
Yeah.
I'm like, he waited until dessert? Oh my, I can't
He
deal
waited
with
until
this.
Dessert, and he like knocks his little knife on his glass and he
Yeah.
stands up
Oh,
and clears
God.
his throat. And he's like, I just wanted to make a very important announcement. It has come to my attention that Peyton, and he points at Peyton, he's like, Peyton flushed the hot dog.
Wow.
Everyone gasps, right? Like everyone is laughing. Hazel and Dawn are like crying. They're laughing so hard. And the parents look at Peyton and they're like, Peyton, did you flush the hot dog? Like, is this true? And Peyton, deadpan, looks at the table and goes, you're going to believe him over me?
Oh, God. Of course he works in politics.
So apparently overnight he had some kind of like change of mind, or he decided to prolong the drama. And so now there's anarchy because by digging in his heels, Cole is now like discrediting his own position, right? Because he's like, no, Peyton told us. And like Hazel and Dawn are like also confirming that Peyton told him, but all the parents are like, we don't know who to believe in this scenario. Like it's equally as likely to us that the three of you banded together to blame the only person who hasn't been blamed here.
There's a lot of like psychological manipulation in this family, I feel like.
Yes. And also, I think on the parents' part, they're like, we like the drama of not knowing who it is.
Right.
So it doesn't
They're
matter
just
to us.
I like how this family's doing like a fun prank, and I'm like, it's full of narcissists and sociopaths, and they're just like having family fun. I'm like, I don't like any of this.
They're all Coles, really, if you think
They're
about
all
it.
Cole's cash at heart. If you think about it.
So the family left Christmas that year, like just as unsure of who flushed the toilet as before. But the cousins know that it was Peyton.
Yeah.
Who do you think is the villain of this story?
Who do I think is the villain? Definitely Peyton. Because, okay, think about this. All the years that people are like shitting on Cole, he's sitting there
Yep.
like la 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 la, like that takes like a level of like you have like zero empathy.
So you don't think it's Grandpa anymore. You've revoked Grandpa as villain character.
I think I was being unfair to Grandpa. I was, I think he was just being fair. I had like images of my own Korean family screaming at me, but he sounds like just like a very calm, nice man. And he didn't get that mad, even though it cost him $2,500.
Which is a lot of money in
If
1999.
yeah, because if that was my household, somebody was going to get slapped with a wooden spoon. Yes, I think it's definitely Peyton by a mile. He's definitely the villain. I don't trust him. I don't know if there's any. Yeah, I think it's definitely Peyton, hands down.
We have been told that the plan is that this Christmas, Peyton has some kind of plan to announce that he was the hot dog flusher.
Oh God, he's gonna not do it again.
That's my question for you: is do you think he's gonna do it?
No,
Why?
because he doesn't. He enjoys this. He enjoys the suffering of others.
But now is the time to do your perfect prank, which is to put the hot dog in the toilet again next year.
I would do if I was Peyton. I would. Okay, wait. I just realized that I just said that I would do this prank to my own family, and then I'm like, Peyton sucks. So like now I'm like, wait. I was like, I would totally do something like this. Wait a minute.
Complicated.
Oh, yeah, well, this is the thing. I would do something like this because it's funny, but
It
I
is
think that
funny.
I would stop the moment that like my sibling was getting, like all the
Yeah.
blame, even if it was a joke.
From what we've heard, it seems like it was always good-hearted and that
Yeah.
Cole was like really good at just like being the villain. So I do understand on some level the idea of being like, this is just a fun thing that we're all doing, right? And it seems like a lot of people thought it was Hazel and Dawn. So like maybe from Peyton's perspective, they were constantly talking about Hazel and Dawn. And from Hazel and Dawn's perspective, they were only talking about Cole.
That makes so much sense. But yeah, but this is the thing though. Even if if you were Cole and it was like lighthearted and funny, you would know like at the core, the adults truly thought that you were a little shit. And like they had decided. And I think that would like psychologically damage you to a certain extent. Do you know what I mean? Like even if they were being nice about it.
Yeah. I do know what you mean.
And if I was his brother, Peyton, I'd be like, that's messed up. I don't want him to like, I want to tell my parents, like, sometimes it's the one wearing a suit,
It's so true. That is maybe the moral of this story, is that sometimes it's the one in the suit.
And then the parents would have learned the lesson back in the 90s that, sometimes the square is up to no good.
So true.
Yeah.
Youngmi, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It was a joy to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I was on the edge of my seat.
Thank you for listening to Normal Gossip. If you have a gossip story to share with us, email us at normalgossip@defector.com. Or you can leave us a voicemail at 2679-GOSSIP. If you love this podcast and want us to keep making it, become a friend or a friend of a friend at supportnormalgossip.com. You can follow the show on Instagram and TikTok at Normal Gossip. You can follow Kelsey on all social media at McKinney-Kelsey. This podcast was produced by Alex Sujong Laughlin. Defector's projects editor is Justin Ellis. Our editor-in-chief is Tom Lay. Jay Tolvieira is our production assistant. And thanks to the rest of the Defector staff. Defector Media is a collectively owned, subscriber-based media company. Normal Gossip is hosted by Kelsey McKinney. And remember, you did not hear this from me.